This is from AGN 1983, another 5-star review. Thank you so much. I love that this podcast is rethinking the idea that college is the only route to success. As a millennial, I was told to go to college and you will be successful. Now, as someone in my 40s, I know that is completely false. And there are so many different ways to have a successful career. And this podcast is discussing all the alternatives. Once again, this goes to literally exactly what we were just saying, right? Like now as someone in my 40s, it takes 20 years for you to realize that it's a scam.
I really appreciate that review too, because talking about the fact that we're talking about these alternatives, it's so wild to me. I am absolutely about to hate on a TikTok commenter. Full disclosure, everybody, I'm about to be a little snarky, but basically this guy was in the comments on TikTok and he was so mad about the fact that I said somebody could become a financial advisor without buying a college degree. And I said, you can look at the FINRA website. It says it. It's publicly available knowledge. It's very tiresome to just argue with something that is on the internet and a verifiable fact that you can just look up in 0.3 seconds. And then this person reveals that they have a law degree from Yale. Doesn't know the law. And it's amazing to me that people in these echelons, like these high, lofty Ivy League schools, and then also this law degree from Yale, and didn't know that you can still read the law in 4 states. Literally just didn't know that. It's like, you can't be a lawyer. That's illegal. And I said, it's not. It's 4 states. You can still read the law. And then falls into multiple logical fallacies where they're just going, well, that's only 4 states. I'm like, yes, but it's 4 states. And then you can test and take the bar in different other states to have reciprocity. And they're like, well, that's now only 14 states. And I'm like, okay, but literally 3 minutes ago, it was 0 because you just didn't know. And this is somebody who has bought a degree from an extremely expensive university and has just not been taught their options. And the anger and the bitterness of people who clearly just didn't know that there's other ways. And it traps people into what our first reviewer talked about, where their sister just didn't know there was another way and now has ended up in a completely different field of work, as 75% of graduates do. Basically just the downstream effects of not teaching people their options and not giving them information and not informing them that there are in fact other avenues, there are other ways to try, and there are other things you can do.
I wouldn't fault the guy just because he went to Yale for not knowing that you can be a financial advisor. Just because he went to Yale and had a law degree doesn't mean that he's informed about it.
I only fault him because he called me an idiot when he was wrong.
Right. Yeah, but I'm just saying, you understand why that's not like a reason.
I do fault him for being a lawyer that doesn't know where you can practice the law in the United States. That's a little embarrassing.
But the thing is he knows where he can practice law in the United States, which is he can sit for the bar anywhere. I mean, just saying, like, he is aware of those things. For his own life, he is informed. And so what I think is the bigger thing is that he just bought into this mentality of buying degrees. Buying degrees is the way forward, and that he doesn't realize you don't need a degree, and he doesn't know what financial advisors do. He just doesn't understand the industry, obviously, because if he understood what it was, then he would know that you don't need a college degree because financial advising is sales. If you can sell, then you can be a financial advisor as long as you can pass all of your licensing exams, which, I mean, for some people it might be hard.
Yeah, you gotta study, like anything.
Like, you just have to study to pass them.
Last point, but it's amazing to me how people don't know the parameters of their own professions. You would think that if you're going to pay that much money to become whatever that is, you would do some research into where and when and how and the other ways, because that's the biggest thing. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I just wish people would look into, before they buy paper, they should always look into, is this the only way for me to do this? Is this the only way? Because you should just know if there is an alternative, even if you decide not to take that alternative, because then you just know it's there. And you know, like I just said, the parameters of your profession. Like if you want to be a coroner, but you can be a coroner in some places without buying a college degree, you should know that information. So just so you understand where and when and how you can practice your chosen profession. Because even if later on down the line you need to pivot for some reason, you should just know that information.
I totally hear what you're saying. I don't really have any thoughts about this. This is a new thought to me. Is it reminds me of just like different types of shoppers that are buying things. There are people that are willing to do the simple and easy purchase. Let's say that this is an ice crusher and it's a blender or something like that. They're like, yep, I need both of those things and I'm willing to just pay whatever you charge me because I know that this does both of those things. And then there's the people that shop that are thinking, okay, well, I need a ice crusher and I need a blender. And I'm using, this is obviously a bad example. This is a very new thought to me. So like, obviously this is a bad example. Just stick with me. Just pretend like those two things are different for a second. Okay, I need an ice crusher and I need a blender. Okay, where can I get an ice crusher? And then where can I get a blender? And can I do those things differently and cheaper than just buying a integrated product for my troubles? It reminds me very much of that. And so for the people that just go with the integrated product that does the 2-in-1 that's more expensive, they don't need to know that there's a separate product that does two different things. They'd be like, oh, well, there's an ice crusher here and there's a thing here, and then they both did the same thing. And you're just like, well, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like, I don't care. With being a lawyer, I'm going to be a lawyer. I know that I want to be a lawyer. I'm going to go to law school because that's how it's done. And I don't care about anything else. That's how it's done. Well, that's not how it's done. You can crush your ice and you can blend it two different ways. I mean, like there are different ways to do it, but I mean, that is a way to get it done. I completely hear what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's not always a price thing too. It might just be better quality if you just bought the blender. Maybe the blender does a better job, but you just don't know if you don't look. And that's the thing. But you're right. It's just different types of shopping styles.